guess the franchology definition for me, for us, it starts with the fact that it's an evidence-based approach, underpinned with decades of research based on a deep understanding of neuroscience, psychology, and human behavior, but also underpinned with the last 2 decades that I have personally spent in the world of franchising, where I've genuinely seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I think, recognizing the unique interdependent relationship that exists between franchisors and the franchise partners, using coaching with compassion is genuinely transformative. And I think I would describe it as starting with genuine care about the people we are privileged to coach. And it differs from what I deployed for years and what most people deploy. It differs from just simply coaching for performance. So where coaching for performance is perhaps much more focused on goals and specific objectives. And in the franchise or franchise partner relationship, that in itself can become quite tricky. Whereas coaching for compassion really takes account and looks at the individual, looks holistically, and develops that resonant relationship between the coach and the coachee.
Your first career was as a nurse, actually, wasn't it? And maybe that holistic approach. Maybe this is a different expression of the same holistic approach of figuring out, well, what's really the matter, what's really wrong.
You're absolutely right, Rob. And when I spent many years nursing, and therefore when I came to the world of franchising 20 years ago, I came with a natural level of compassion. And again, you're absolutely right. In the world of nursing, the reality there from a nursing perspective is to look at the holistic view of every patient that walks through the door. So to be compassionate, to come with a genuine sense of care, I absolutely had that naturally. The beauty now is that, and it's only in recent years that I discovered the amazing work that has been done, the research, the neuroscience that sits behind this by the team at Case Western University in the States. Amazing work done by Richard Boyatzis, by Ellen Van Oosten, by Melvin Smith. And really, for me, it was, we were talking just before we started about the joy that we get from seeing light bulb moments happening in front of our eyes between us as coaches and coachees. But the same thing happened for me with Coaching with Compassion. And when I uncovered the research and the neuroscience that lies behind it, for the first time I was able to understand what I had been doing in many instances naturally, but suddenly discovered that there was real substance and power and process in being able to coach with compassion effectively.
And maybe doing it in a systematic nature that isn't just you personally making decisions on a one-to-one basis.
Again, that's a really insightful point, because over the years, both for myself and for people within the franchise support team who were being asked to go out and coach and or mentor franchise partners, it was regularly really frustrating, because sometimes I had amazing results by deploying what I now know as coaching with compassion. Bearing in mind, 10, 15 years ago, I didn't have this level of insight. But the inconsistency, and I now realise in retrospect why and how sometimes what I was actually deploying was just simply coaching for performance. And that, particularly in the franchise or franchisee relationship, if the franchisee, the franchise partner, the coachee in this instance, thinks that all you are interested in as a franchisor is driving performance for your own ends to drive management service fee income, and not looking at that relationship and perhaps in the right way, and at least if that's how it comes across, if you've not fostered trust, if you're not looking at that relationship with empathy, if you've not created emotional safety, then you're unlikely to unlock that intrinsic motivation and resilience that actually allows the franchise or franchisee relationship not just to succeed, but to thrive and to be that true trusted partner. So I can see now with retrospect, knowing what I've learned over recent years, because of the research, because of the science, because of understanding the psychology that lies behind this stuff. Now that I understand it, I can look back and see, I can see why and when it worked well. And now I can also see why and when it didn't work well. And the last thing to say on that is, in my experience, both personal and, I worked with significant numbers of franchisors over the years. The reality of that is that nobody typically sets out but to create unintended consequences. But that's exactly what can happen when you don't understand. When you don't understand even the basics of coaching, notwithstanding how to use coaching with compassion effectively, because both are crucial.
I have a thought on that, but Jeanette, I wanted to come to you and just ask, how did you come to understand coaching with compassion, and was there a specific circumstance you can think of where you thought, actually, this is how it...
It's definitely as everything that Graham has said. And I think for me, it's about that inherent belief in the wholeness of your client. So when your coachee comes to you, they've got all the resources that they need. If I come in with that belief into the relationship, I'm much more likely to get a positive and psychologically safe, or create a positive and psychologically safe environment to work within. And it then automatically moves across from that transactional type of interaction to a transformational one. So sometimes clients say it's the very first time they've ever been truly listened to. So we work really hard in the beginning to understand what their hopes and dreams are, what their aspirations are, because on the face of it, they might have bought into a franchise, but actually it's what the success of that is going to give them. That's the driver, whether that's time with their families, whether it's a boat in the Bahamas, whatever it might be. So in uncovering what that is and then going into the coaching with them, it really helps when the going gets tough to actually gently be that uncomfortable friend and ask permission to share with them, what we've noticed around what their behavior is, what their language is telling us, and what the impact that might be on the people and teams that they're working with, and how that can have a negative effect. So it's all very much about, creating that listening environment. Some of the feedback we've got is, I stopped managing numbers and I started coaching humans. That changed everything. Well, of course it will. If we're going to treat people as individuals and human beings, and that they're inherently whole, they're going to be so much more motivated to do what they want to do.